What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in for a sort of evening dev stream, I suppose. Just set up my scene here. So if you guys have been following, today I posted up on our social media feed the completion of this visual update to this tavern here. And I thought I'd just do a quick stream and share with you guys the kind of setup that would take place for an actor like this, once the artwork is pretty much done. So let's get to it. I'm going to open up the static mesh. I already have it open. Perfect. And what I'll do is create an actor for this. And let me make sure I'm making it in the right directory here. What I would do, actually, I think, is I'm going to just duplicate my junk shop actor here. So Control W is the hotkey for that. And let's call this, barrel and casket. Actually, that's better. Okay, once that's set up, what I actually want to do is we'll quickly just delete that. And I'll drag out the new actor here, and you can see, if you take a look here, we have a bad blueprint notification. So let's go inside there and see what's going on. And it is over here. Let's take a look here. I'm going to hit compile again, get the compiler results here to see where these errors are. And it's because I copied the parent, but it's missing these references and specific instructions, mostly because a lot of the shop menus reference the actor we are replacing. But to be honest, most of this we're getting rid of. I duplicated it because I did want to get this instruction here, sort of the determine if shop is open or closed depending on if it's daytime or not. But regarding all this stuff, we definitely aren't going to be needing this. We'll keep the end interaction. Compile, that should clean it up for the most part. And I'll get rid of this. Okay, let's compile. And back outside here. Oh, there's something. Let's grab this static mesh and replace the inherited properties of this actor. And we're getting something. We just have a little bit of a weird material overrides happening here. Okay, that's looking a bit better. And now that we have this out, let's position it in the world the way we want it to be. Yeah, this is about approximately where we had it. Okay, that seems about right. For the time being, I'm just going to lock the actor movement. It's a pretty handy tool, so we can't move this around and ruin our perfect positioning. Okay, now that we have this actor set up with the mesh, we can get rid of a few things here. Things like the camera, we probably won't be needing. The exit location, we will. This is an actor that has an interior environment and will serve as a loading mechanism between maps within Unreal. That's pretty good. I want to move this signifier box, or I guess I called it an attention box here. Basically, it's going to move that right in line with the door. And stretch this out here. Make it bigger on the Z-axis. And yeah, it does not be perfect. Just approximate positioning will be fine. Right, perfect. And we have our enter and all that sort of stuff. So right off the bat, we can see that yeah, we're missing some textures here. So let's set that up. I have a texture in mind I wanted to use. Yeah, it's element 7 is what we need to replace. So let's grab a material for element 7. And what I want to use here is this stucco material. Large. Fine, large. Cool. And if we drop that in here, you can see it's a bit bright for my taste. The design of this building calls for a darker material, but you can see that there's some interesting texture here. So what we can do, though, is color this material. So we'll open that up. Now, normally what you would do here is, we have these vector parameters. We could create a instance of this material that would stay in our content browser, and we could color. We would adjust this variable and just keep it another instance of the material just for this one particular use. But what I prefer to do is I set that up on the construction graph and just modify this variable. And all we have to know is the parameter name, color underscore null. So let's set that up first, because this building's just way too bright. So here, on our construction graph, we'll grab our mesh, and we want to get the material parameter, and we want it to be vector, or a vector, and we're looking for color underscore null. I believe this is case sensitive. Okay, I got it. Should be fine, and multiplying by 0 should make it dark. And now we got a pure black version of that texture. That might be a little aggressive. I'll tidy this up a little bit. Set stucco color parameter on element 7. Let's try 0.1, 0.1, and so in this instance, this XYZ actually corresponds to the RGB values. So if we set this at 1, we would get a really bright blue. Well, not super bright, but you'll see that it's almost a full blue value, so we're multiplying that white by. But I want to reduce it to make something like 1.25. So so I'm looking for a more muted blue. But even then, it's just too bright. Now let's reduce this by get the factor like by half. And yeah, it's like 125. Yeah, it's more in line with what I was looking for. We'll leave that being. We'll leave that as it is for the time being. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is on the visual side of things. I want to add some of my window meshes because I want to kind of position some actors on this sort of some overlapping geometry, sort of to accessorize the building a little bit. Let's see what we can do here. Let's get a static mesh. Also, I haven't tested this, or I'm just kind of just winging it, and I had this idea. So if it's not suitable, we're gonna have to scrap it. Window frame open. Yeah, so we got this static mesh. And let's see here. Just position it. I might have to scale it a little bit too. Let's try and get some light over here. And see what we're working with. So, something like this is what I was thinking. It's a little short. As this actor wasn't, or this mesh wasn't exactly designed for this, but maybe we can get away with it. I think we can. We'll just scale it a little bit. Let's try 1.25. Don't want to go crazy. Yeah, this actually might just work. So let's duplicate that. Move it off to the side here. I want to inverse this on the x-axis. Just flip it. And let's see if we can just duplicate these over. Not quite what I'm looking for. Select these two and change the orientation. There may be a way to rotate them together, but there it is. And let's set this up over here. Looking at the actor here, I actually want to go back and readjust the saturation of that color. It's a little bit still too blue for what I want. And I might actually add a bit more green to that hue. Okay, so that should be cool for now. Underneath here, interesting. Okay, hold on. While we're here, let's just keep this organized. I'm gonna call this window 3. Four. 1. 2. 5 and 6. I'll finish accessorizing this first. So there are some ground pipes that I want to add that are often seen around the city. So let's add the static mesh. and it's right up there. Well, what I should do is actually go back to my modeling software and make a straight section to this. Just a thought that occurred to me. But we can set up the first half of this anyways. Whoops, and let's duplicate that. Cool. Yeah, so those static meshes are actually fine now. And what I want to do here is, there's a better way to do this. A way better way to do this. We can convert this to a linear color and actually just select the color we want, which is way better than figuring out the values, right? So I want something dark, not too saturated, more in the cooler side of blue, or more towards a sky blue than a deep blue. We'll see how that looks. Let's compile and take a look in the viewport. Yeah, I feel like this is more desirable. Yeah, I think I put some barrels outside. This is a tavern after all, right? It would be expected. Okay, let's continue. The next thing I want to do is change this roof color. You can see we have these materials out and visible, and we set up a script to adjust the roof color to what we want. We're going to set up the same thing, but on the construction script rather than as an exposed actor, because this actor, unlike the houses, are not really repeated anywhere else. It's a key building, so no sense to have the control exposed. We'll just have it over here. I want to duplicate this because we're going to use the same logic. But you just got to go in here and find out that color. Color shift is what it's called. And the color I want is more of a brighter yellow. Let's just take a look at this. Might be offensive. Oh, well, it's definitely bright. I can dig it. This is pretty cool. Okay, so some unintentional color changes. A lot of these variables, sorry, a lot of these textures use the same parent, and the parent is what has that parameter. So all the stones are now yellow, stained glass is all tinted yellow too. So definitely not the desired look. Um, let's see what we can do about that. Maybe something with the specific element. Right, we have all these different elements we want to change. Probably element 4. So can we do something with that? Element, no. Get material. From components, we can hmm, we've get material, set material by name. Parameter, how would we do this? Oh, interesting. Something new to learn, I guess. A workaround for this would be to just break the roof off into a separate mesh and then add it in like we did these. I'd like to not have to do that. Well then, what we could do is just create a material instance for this in the meantime. And what I want to do here is just color shift this to that's a bit more in line with what I initially wanted. Okay, so we have these two sections here. Now, right now that's our interaction. Doesn't make any sense. We have to remember that's because we pulled it from the junk shop. And currently, I believe if we transition our level to a nighttime scene, I just should say the shop is closed. So you can see why we duplicated it from the junk shop, because it already inherited that feature, which can be seen up here. So trigger shop inventory update, custom shop instruction. Yeah, these are all things that aren't really necessary. And then we have this check if it's closed. Right, so for this shop, it's a little bit unique because it opens at nighttime. So we're just going to use these not booleans and sort of flip the script, literally. Trigger shop inventory update. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. And now from here, if we play, hey, yeah, we get our flow controls are working appropriately. So our things are closed, and down here the shop is open. Don't need any of those sound effects or the character data. Let's call the end interaction here. The lights are on inside. Yep, that is sort of what I want to have. For the time being, again, once we have a level set up for this, we'll implement our level traveling instructions to allow this space to work similar to the apartment complex across the street. Doors are locked. Looks like this place only opens up at nighttime. Whoops. Cool. So, one other thing we can do is set the emissive channel on these stained glass portions to actually be lit at nighttime. If I take a look at them, they have another vector parameter just called emissive hue / power. So we can take advantage of that and set it up right here. Let's grab our value, set vector parameter on materials. Emissive hue / power. Is that correct? Looks good. Okay. And basically, if those are true, if the shop is, well, actually not if it's true, if it's false, if the shop is open, we want this to be if the shop is closed, we'll keep it 0. That's fine. If it's true, we don't need a lot. We can do something probably like 0.1, like 10% power, or else that place is going to look like way too bright probably. And we can actually keep that 0. We get kind of like a yellow, like a warm light. Yeah, that's pretty decent. You can see that it's open. Lights are on inside, right? Whoops, missed. Pretty cool. How does it look over on this side? Nice. Could use a little bit of, you could put some sconces here or something, just to make it a bit more readable. But we're pretty much done here, I want to say, in terms of that basic functionality and actor setup. Let's take a look at, real quick, while we're here, let's grab this street light. You know, something like Like I don't love this. We could create a light as part of the actor and just sort of plug it into the same execution as everything else. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that, but perhaps something a bit brighter. From a lighting perspective, you definitely want to be able to read the signs of buildings that are supposed to be accessible. Could make use of maybe this actor instead. What happens if we just grab this and like shove it out of here for now? It's better, but now we're obstructing the view. So that was a terrible idea. Just terrible. So perhaps we'll have to go inside of the mesh and just sort of model in a little bit of a lighting structure underneath the sign where we can call a light to turn on or off, which isn't a huge deal. Like I said, it would just execute from here, basically. So if we animate this on the other side, imagining that it's nighttime, we can add a spotlight to this actor and just position it the way we would like it. And let's work with this cone, making sure it covers the entirety of what we're doing here, of what we're trying to illuminate anyways. Something like that. You know what? Not a spotlight. A point light would actually be much better. Because I believe we can basically turn it into a cylinder instead of a sphere. Which would be more helpful. So let's bring down this radius. And I think we can bump up the source length. Oh geez. Maybe 1000 is a bit aggressive. Let's go with 500. And just center that up here. Okay, that should be just what the doctor ordered. Okay, so we have intensity. We'll leave this where it is. And we'll just control whether the light is on or off using this visible variable from rendering. So grab our point light, head back into the event graph, grab this, set visibility. I should just grab this, not Boolean, and hook that up here. Alright, let's test that out. And actually, let me just remove this guy. And I think by default, we should probably set visible to off. Sweet. Alright guys, so that pretty much covers the setup for this actor. Tavern's looking a lot better than how it used to. I definitely think that visual update was worthwhile. I'm just gonna quickly go into my modeling software and just add some simple geometry to make it look like there's a light fixture underneath that sign. But that would bring this dev stream / walkthrough to a close. Thanks for watching. Feel free to follow us on social media if you want updates, cool pictures, concept art. We post all sorts of stuff on our Instagram and Facebook feeds. So until next time, see ya.